Alright, y'all, so let's talk about this. So, excuse me, I want to do a little follow-up on, Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora, but it's not so much about Wilder versus Chisora. I want to dig into something a little bit. Now, Deontay Wilder has basically said things throughout the years that were very contradicting, and that common sense should have told him these things before he even fell into these traps. He didn't fall into a trap. He willingly, knowing what he was doing, just didn't realize that it was going to backfire. Now, let's look at something. For example, he was being interviewed by some black guy. I don't know who his brother was. And he talked about Tyson Fury and him being a cheater forever. Now, he talked about Fury in this interview simply because he knew that this brother wasn't going to question him or say anything, which at this point, man, it's just I don't even know why the fuck people are still even bringing that shit up. But he talked about it, had no problem talking about it with this guy. Now, the reason why he didn't do it with Simon Jordan, like I said, if this shit wasn't set up to try to, like some old WWE shit, but it's because he knows that Simon Jordan is going to be biased towards Fury. They all were biased towards Fury. In fact, they all said, when it came to Usyk, it's a big little man versus a good little man, and the big man always wins, and Usyk is good, but they even said Fury was better overall than Usyk, and I said, hell fucking no, he's not. And in fact, the only way I really see Usyk really losing, where Tyson Fury can just beat him and it's clear, is if Usyk just goes in there and fights him wrong. I never fear any motherfucking size. So I never understand when people fight a big motherfucker, man, you got to know what your strengths are. I mean, it's understandable if you're a half-ass fighter or you're good in certain areas, but big guys give you a problem. But other than that, shit, if you can bang yourself and you can clip that chin the same way. But what happened with Wilder is he shut down the whole Simon Jordan interview and he walked off. Okay, cool. Now, if you don't want to talk about something, you don't want to talk about it, period, to you, whoever, it doesn't matter who they are. He says he has a documentary and a movie, and he's going to tell it all, and he says he got artifacts, that's his words, he got artifacts, he said he got everything. If you have proof, that means Tyson Fury's ass should be in jail for the things that he was accused of. Now, the fact of the matter is, Deontay Wilder is going to go to his grave saying that Fury cheated. Now, does this make any sense to you? Think about it. Deontay Wilder said, me being a black man, a dark-skinned black man, it's harder for somebody to believe me than a white man. Okay, do you understand? This is the thing that I said about Wilder before. I don't know if he understands this about himself. When the only time you want to speak up and talk about how black people suffer and really make a stance is when it is something involving you, solely you. That's not a stand for black people in general. Once again, look at how he's treating Derek Chisora. All of a sudden, they brothers, they so close, but he's a Brit. Now, you remember, there was a time Wilder used to make fun of the Brits, right? Made fun of the way they talk, said they was biased and all of that. Now, all of a sudden, him and Derek Chisora are so super close. Wait a minute, I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Anthony Joshua was the fucking unified champion with 3 belts. You had the other one. Y'all could have had that 3-fight showdown. No, you chose to go break bread and make money with the white guy. You chose that. That's why when he says these things, I'm like, bro. And on top of that, who was the biggest star? AJ, by far. Let's not forget something. Tyson Fury, fat ass, was coming off a fucking three-year retirement, layoff, whatever you want to call it, and came back and had 2 meatball opponents and then got in there with Wilder. He talked about how he got cheated in the second and third fight. Then he said he got cheated in all 3. Then he turns around now and said, well, definitely the second and third, or the first and the second, or so whatever, I don't know what the third. He said that the referee told him, hey man, I had to do what was best for boxing. Right? Okay? At the end of the fucking day, let me ask you something. Did you do what was best for boxing when you fought Fury instead of AJ? Because for somebody to be so alert of the white man, it's funny how you chose to break bread with the white man and talked a lot about, you know, how he talked about Mark Breland was jealous of how he was shining and all this, talking about how he had to fire him, right? Okay. Well, you also severed ties with Malik Scott. What was the reasoning behind that? But you kept JD's. Mark Breland wasn't the one in there watching his hands get wrapped. JD's was. See, there's so many things that when Wilder speak, I realize that he really don't understand how he sound to other people. And he'll say he don't care, and we don't give a fuck either. That's the whole thing. You say things, and you cannot be so alert onto how the white man works. But you chose that. And it's not like Shelly Finkel was some black motherfucker either. So all the things that he say, even the white dudes that made his outfit. Now, listen, did you not hear Wilder in this same interview say, I never said that, about the outfit being too heavy? After we all heard him say it. And the video, that shit is still in my archives. The video disappeared, and it came back. And you heard him say, they asked him, you said in the ring that you had difficulties before you came to the ring, about 15 minutes before. You know, like, but you never said, like, what they were. And he starts about, well, I ain't had no legs before I even came to the ring. You know, I got in the ring because my outfit weighed 45 pounds, and I had the long lean walk, and then he was saying there was other things. You can see how I was blinking my eyes when I got there. He said all of that shit. Now, he just sat here, his boy sat there and was interviewed by Kirk DeVille, Counterpunch Boxing. Shout out, salute to my brother Kirk DeVille, Counterpunch Boxing. And he sat there and told Kirk, not Deontay, I forget the guy's name that was being interviewed by Kirk. And when Kirk brought that up, he said to Kirk, oh, that was misconstrued. People misconstrued. Champ never said that. And then that video, like a year or two later, resurfaced. And I'm sitting there going, the whole fucking boxing world heard that shit. The fuck are you talking about? ESPN, everybody talked about it. And all of the Wilder fans are going, oh man, they all hating on Wilder, blah, blah. Like, stop with the bullshit, man. He said that shit. And he know he said that shit. This is my thing. And this is why all of the black content creators that was taken up for Wilder, I get it. He's a black man, and the white people taking up for their white. I get it. The problem that y'all don't understand is you're taking up for a black motherfucker that's lying. You're taking up for a black dude that chose to make money and break bread with the same white man you talking about. So the shit just doesn't add up. That could have been Anthony Joshua, but y'all was so busy trying to prove that Wilder was the best heavyweight and not AJ, right? And wanted to say it was who? That same white man. So y'all was all sucking Fury off, putting him up on his pedestal. That's all that was. You want to claim superiority over fucking AJ. That's something black folks love to do. We'll kill each other, we'll talk shit about each other, but we will not say nothing or be honest about what the fuck is really going on when it comes to blackness and anybody else outside of our fucking race. But then, when Wilder is saying what he's saying, then that means, Wilder, you was aware of this shit. And remember, back some years ago when he said, we already knew what time it was with Fury before we even fought him. You said that. I don't do drugs, I don't drink, I don't lie and make up shit. So at the end of the day, you said that. So if you already knew what time it was with Fury, why'd you fight him? And then on top of that, let's not forget, it's the same dude that told Dillian White, I will freeze you up for 2 years. And Dillian White kept those text messages. Okay? This is the same guy. The same guy who chose to fight Tyson Fury over AJ. And here's the crazy part, right? He was so busy worrying about how much AJ was going to make. That's what him and Shelly Finkel said. We know, yeah, the zone offered us 120. Yeah, that's true. But they wouldn't tell us how much AJ was making, and this is easily a $300 million fight. And so they wanted 150 apiece, basically. So Wilder was walking around here telling himself that he was just as big of a star as AJ, which was bullshit. Because AJ, you can go around the world, and AJ got fans. Wilder barely had anybody that really, I mean, in America, people talk about, oh, nobody know AJ. Isn't it funny that when he fought Andy Ruiz, like 90% of that building was cheering for who? AJ. You put a black guy against a fucking Mexican guy in America, 99.9% of the times, who get the loudest cheer? The Mexican guy. And so at the end of the fucking day, this is what I mean about how people say things and then say they didn't say something. They do things and say they didn't do it. And where other people purposely forget, and we remember these things, and it's just like now he's in a position where it obviously still bothers him because the results wasn't the way they were. See, the problem was this, Wilder. You blaming the referee, but when you dropped Fury, you called him pillow-fisted, you said he couldn't knock anybody out, and all the shit that you said you was going to do and how the fight was going to go. When Fury got the fuck back up, you did not finish the job. And he started to come back and dominate you in that same round. Daniel Dubois folded Usyk's ass with a fucking body shot. Yes, he fucking did. It wasn't no fucking shot to the balls. But when Usyk got up, the same amount of rest that Usyk got, Daniel Dubois had. Okay? And Daniel Dubois, think about this, Usyk is the one that got hurt, not Dubois. But when Usyk got up, he understood what he had to do. He finished the job. Daniel Dubois didn't. They walked around for like the whole year up until that fight to the rematch happened, crying about, oh man, I won that fight. I should be okay, man. You better get over that shit and move on. And with Wilder, the fact that he's bringing this up now, and obviously he wants to promote his documentary, he wants to promote his movie and all that. All this shit, man, that y'all said y'all were gonna do, y'all had proof, y'all had evidence. And remember, Wilder also is the same guy that said, I know what happened. He said, I'm gonna go to my grave knowing what happened. But it's hard to convince people when you don't have proof. Now he's saying he got proof again. So I don't know if Wilder's trying to stir up conversation to get people to start to pay more attention to him, to try to build up to this old bull fight with Derek Chisora that nobody asked for. But Wilder said a lot of things and contradicted himself. And just like him saying, last dance, last chance, now here he is again. Okay? Listen, what's best for boxing may hurt certain people in certain ways, in an unfair way. And it might hurt them in a way that it's fair enough. Okay? But to say the referee told him I did what was best for boxing, right? He's trying to make it sound like the referee's like admitting that I did something wrong. No. We've seen several fights where a guy was hurt and wasn't even moving, or got up and was staggering all over the place, and the referee still was counting. So it's not like this is the first time we ever saw that. But the whole thing is Fury got up, and that blessing and the curse in the right hand, he like to call it, like he didn't deliver. On top of that, it's like saying, hey man, if the Buffalo Bills, if Scott Norwood would have made that field goal, they'd have beat the Giants. Imagine here in 2026, they still talking about that shit. Hey, nah, man, because y'all had 3 more chances at being the Super Bowl champs, and y'all lost all 4 times. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. And let's not forget this. Deontay Wilder tweeted to Tyson Fury, I'm a man of my word. Just like I told you, after the first fight was a draw, that we'd do this again. And I kept my word. I turned down a fight with Anthony Joshua for a whole lot more money and kept my word and fought you. So once again, you turned down a fight with the black man to break bread and make some money with that black man for Fury. You did that. You're the one who tweeted it. You did that. So it's like now to talk about the white man, then white man at your convenience because you're trying to gain something out of it personally. See, this is what I'm saying. And all these black content creators that was sitting there sucking Wild off was overlooking that. So I'm saying, bro, you're doing all this glazing for a dishonest dude. I got two good eyes that work perfectly well. My ears hear perfectly well. I know what I heard. I know what I saw. And everything that I saw and heard was something Wilder did or what Wilder said. Not no he said, she said. And this is where right now, Wilder should be focusing on Derek Chisora. But once again, you didn't talk about Fury on one interview, but you had no problem talking about him on another one. This is what I'm saying. I think he did the right thing with Simon Jordan because Simon Jordan was, Simon Jordan is always trying to stir the pot. But I feel like this, even on the show with this black guy, you shouldn't have talked about it then either. For what? For what? Because the principles can't be different. The only thing that changed the principles is because, like I said, Deontay Wilder only want to do interviews with people. And you know before they interview, hey man, I don't want to talk about this, I want to talk about that, whatever. And this is why I said, whether he had that conversation with Simon Jordan or not, definitely is somebody he should have, because Simon Jordan. And that's why I said, if this wasn't some scripted WWE shit, well, he did what he was supposed to do. Because that's what these guys are here to do, stir up the pot. And of course, he's going to take his countrymen's side. This is what the black content creators was doing with Wilder. Problem is, man, this dude was making y'all look stupid because he was making himself look stupid. And y'all sitting here denying shit that he clearly said and clearly did. End of the day, these were his decisions and his choices. So now in 2026, he's finally getting ready to fight Derek Chisora. And at the end of all that, we're going to keep it civil and, we're not trying to promote the fight with violence and all that. Right. There's no need to ever do that shit. But at the same fucking time, everything that led up to this moment and everything that's going to happen as far as his documentary and his movie, all the shit he's saying, what is it going to lead to? Because if you drop this documentary and you drop this movie and you claim you got proof and artifacts, that was your words, you got artifacts, you got proof, right? You got evidence. Then that means Fury ass should be going to jail after this proof comes out. So if you drop this documentary and make this movie and basically fatten your pockets up and Fury is still free, then what purpose did you serve? Who gives a fuck about you saying in the movie the same shit you already said in interviews? You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, all the crying and whining, man, I mean, you act like you hated Anthony Joshua, but when you seen him face to face, you was the one smiling, initiating handshakes. You say all this shit about Fury, but you saw him in Saudi Arabia, and he yelled, "Bomb Squad!" And he didn't walk over to you. You walked over to him, hugged him up and everything, and then said it was great to see everybody in Saudi Arabia, and then made a bullshit excuse about why you didn't do anything there. What was the purpose? We over there in another country and all that. Yeah, I hear you, man, but ain't no way in fuck I'm gonna shake the hand of a man that I call a cheater, a dirty motherfucker. And what he did was so impactful in my life or career that I'm gonna make a documentary and a movie about it. But I'm gonna see the motherfucker and shake his hand. This is what people don't understand. That whole thing turned to one big mess, and it doesn't make Wilder look good at all. And the fact that they try to make this fight seem like it's some Super Bowl, two great fighters in their prime, no, they weren't great even in their prime. But at the end of the fucking day, this is the type of fighters that he should be fighting to try to keep from losing. And his confidence was so down in his last fight, he tried to milk as much money as he could. He fought a guy who was ranked 238 in the world. So all of what he's saying and trying to get people to believe, once again, it'll be his followers and his fans that sit there and pump his head up like, yeah, and that makes him feel good going forward. but the worldview on all of this shit overall, for people that look at this, is, man, you got your ass whooped. You're crying about the referee not counting Fury out. The ref didn't cheat. You guys constantly tell a 10-second count. No, it's not a 10-second count. It's a 10 count. You've seen referees go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And you also saw referees go 1, 2, 3, right? Okay. So it's not even in the rule books it's not even listed in the rule books as a 10-second count. It's a 10 count. A 10 count. But even with that being the case, that first fight didn't fuel you to not be denied in fights 2 and 3. You got pummeled, you got hammered, you got pissed off at Mark Breland, and you fired him. Which means if Mark Breland throwing a towel in is the reason you lost, now you got more fuel added to the fire in fight number 3, right? Fight number 3, he really beat the dog shit out of you. So, all of this talk, man, and the truth is this. He's saying all this and all this. You know why he's making the documentary and why they're making the movie? He needs money. You know why? He's back fighting Derek Chisora again. He needs money. You know why he fought that dude ranked to 238 in the world? He needs money. He shut up, and I never even watched the shit. I just kept seeing a little clip when it would pop up, telling everybody how his ex took all this money and how his son helped him and all this shit. Okay, or however much money it was that she got from him. But the whole point, that's why he's still here. That's why. If Deontay Wilder was still here and he was mixing up and winning and beating Fabio Wardleys and Moses Thomas and Usyk, if he was fighting these guys, and that would be something else. You got beat up by Joseph Parker. You got knocked out in the 4th round by Zhang Zhang. You came back and fought Mr. 238. That's his name, all right, Mr. 238. And now you're getting ready to fight a washed-up Derek Chisora. And that's my whole thing. If you can't beat Derek Chisora, if you can't beat Joe Joyce and Dillian White, there's really nothing else for you to fucking do other than just try to make money because you need the money. Anyways, I just wanted to touch on that because people always try to rewrite history, and this era especially don't care about the truth. All they care about is what's entertaining. But I'm not with that bullshit. I'm going to always give it to you raw, rough, and real. That's all I got for you guys. Catch you guys on the next video.